Hello, YouTube!
Hi!
Today we are headed to Tombstone, Arizona. Come join us.
Yes. Oh, what a pretty little dog.
While we're in southeast Arizona, we want to go to Tombstone. That's the authentic town of the 1800s where the cowboys and the pioneers both lived and fought.
It's dry heat. I love it. I love it. That's so cool.
Fate was not content to get another travel video from Sandy Paws this week. Fate instead wanted a top 5 things to do when living and traveling full-time in an RV.
Day 1 of our trip was great, and we rented a hotel in Tombstone because we were only supposed to be there a couple of nights, and we needed a place for the dogs to hang out while we explored some areas where the dogs were not allowed.
Day 2 was going well also. Great breakfast at the Bisbee Breakfast Club.
Yes, it was wonderful. It was probably the best food that we've had for breakfast since we've been out on the road, and I know that sounds crazy to say, but yeah, I'm all in on that.
So good, so
Yeah.
good. Excellent service as well. Then we went into Old Bisbee so that we could take an e-bike tour of the city.
That was a lot of fun. We had a really nice guide. She was very knowledgeable. She had grew up in Bisbee, so she knew so much about the area. So we could have rented the bikes without the tour, but we opted to have her join us.
Now we have more video of our trip to Tombstone. We're going to let this play sort of in the background as we tell our story, because this is where the real story begins. This is where the story begins because when we parked the Jeep to go on the e-bike ride, its master cylinder on the clutch lost a gasket and it began leaking fluid, rendering the clutch useless and the Jeep unable to move. So that brings us to the top 5 things to do when you're living full-time in an RV. And the first thing that we said was budget for emergencies. We had to pay over $800 in transportation costs getting from Bisbee back to Tombstone and then over to Sierra Vista and back a couple times in order to get a rental. The only taxi service that we were able to get came from Sierra Vista, and their policy was to charge per person. Part of the travel expense included we had to make trips to get ice and food. We'll cover that more in just a moment. We also had to spend one extra night in our hotel, which was around $110 a night, and we had to spend $820 roughly on the repairs to the Jeep. These numbers are higher than they should be because of extenuating circumstances. The 4 circumstances are that we broke down in a very small town with very limited resources. There was no Uber, no Lyft, no taxi, no rental cars, nothing in Bisbee to get you a ride back.
Unless it was on the weekend, and that's what they kept saying. They said, well, we would be able to help you. Unfortunately, we are only operating Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this was on a Monday that this happened, so a lot of places weren't even open.
With limited manpower, we were unable to get quick service. We kept putting off getting a rental car because the garage spoke about quick information. So they were telling me that the next day they would have it and they would look at it early in the morning and let us know what to do. So why get a rental car when we could just take a taxi back down? I thought it was going to be something relatively simple, and so did they. It ended up being a little bit later until it was too late to get the rental car for the night. We had to get the room. It's just a kind of a mess. Number 3, the hotel had services advertised or expected that they no longer provided. So they advertised that they had breakfast, no longer there. I would have expected for the hotel to have an ice machine, a working ice machine. Did not have it. And it said on the website that it was right downtown, which it is in the town of Tombstone, but it was too far to walk and it was on a major highway. Everybody coming into town had to take that road. Not a safe place to be.
No sidewalks to utilize or anything.
The 4th circumstance that made it worse was there was no means of getting food. There was no pizza to be delivered. There was no Uber Eats, no DoorDash, no way of getting food. Even Walmart delivery wouldn't work because it's too far away to have just regular groceries delivered.
Yeah, they were located in Sierra Vista, about 20 miles away.
Number 2 on our list of things to do while traveling and living in an RV full time is keep a positive outlook. Keep a positive attitude, because things can be bad, but if you're in a good mood and you can get along, it makes it way more bearable.
We try to maintain some positivity, and I think you do kind of attract what you put out there.
Yes.
So
The third thing on our list is do unto others. That's what we're calling it. But it means, because once we came back and we were having the conversation about what happened with the people that we were around, they said, hey, you could have just called me. We had their phone numbers, that sort of thing, and they offered to come get us. It was just really far away, and I didn't feel like putting people out like that.
yeah, we wanted to try every avenue that we could to
But
take care of things ourselves.
But it's great to have that option. Number 4, be prepared. I like to keep basic tools with me. A small socket set, a set of screwdrivers, that sort of thing. Something that I can, if it is a simple fix, I can fix it right there on the side of the road and get us home. If it's not, I maybe can diagnose what the problem is with those tools. Either way, I like to keep that on hand, and you like to have the medical stuff covered from your experience on the medic.
Maybe it's a good thing to go ahead when we're leaving the RV for several miles or a few hours to go ahead and have some food prepared just in a bag or something, and have that ready, and have some drinks in case you do break down in a rural area. You do have something to sustain you while you're waiting for somebody to come help you.
That's a great option.
Yeah.
We should have thought of that earlier.
Yeah, that
You just thought of it now.
Right. Well, we had just a small amount, but it wasn't enough for 2 or 3 days.
The last thing on our list is compliment each other. You're great.
Oh, you're so handsome.
Not like that. We mean that as we were broken down on the side of the road, she started immediately getting us a ride, and I started looking for someone to come out and to get the Jeep, tow truck, service centers, that sort of thing. And it really helped because it was not easy. In Bisbee, there's only like 2 or 3 places. One of them didn't want to work on it because it wasn't a Volkswagen. Just different little things that they couldn't do. One said it was because it was a clutch. They didn't work on those. So it takes a lot of calling. And if you have to do that and then start on what she was taking care of, that's a whole different ballgame.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for watching. We will return to Tombstone. It didn't scare us away completely. And then we will get you a better video out on Tombstone in Bisbee, and we might even do the e-bike ride again, because that was a lot of fun.
It was, and we hope this video helps.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you...
Hopefully somebody will be prepared a little better.
As a result,
As a result, yes.
Yeah.
And we will see you again next week.